within 24 hours, the community would be completely destroyed at the hands of thousands of white rioters. It was a massacre.
A century on, and a president grappling with today's racial tensions in America travelled to Tulsa to confront the past, being told the horrific detail of one of the darkest but largely overlooked moments in this country's history. He came to remember those who died, but also to promise change, saying the battle for racial equality in America is far from over.
For much too long, the history of what took place here was told in silence, cloaked in darkness. But just because history is silent, it doesn't mean that it did not take place. And while darkness can hide much, it erases nothing. It erases nothing.
Greenwood, known as Black Wall Street, was a prosperous African-American community a century ago, where on the night of May the 31st, white rioters gunned down residents and set fire to homes block by block after a black man was accused of assaulting a white girl. An estimated 300 people were killed and thousands left homeless. Leslie Benningfield was a child of 6 that night. The memories for her are still vivid, but painful to recall.
The soldiers were coming in to run the rebels out, and everybody was running and hiding and trying to get away. I don't know, it's just a big mess.
Only now are many discovering what happened in this part of the USA a century ago, and demands are being made for reparations for Greenwood. The events of that night were long suppressed, were not taught in schools, and even those who lived through the horror found it hard to speak about.
The truth of it truly needs to come out so that real healing can happen, so that there are so many that are still bound to that incident and what it meant and what it took away, that they can't move on into what they can have and create.
Part of that healing may come for some families if they're finally able to lay their ancestors to rest. Mass graves from the massacre are being excavated in the hope of identifying the bodies. This taking place a century after so many died and at a time of racial reckoning in America. Michelle Clifford, Sky News, Washington.